Hello. I think I want to go and give my insight on Midnight Gospel, but there's so many damn jewels. I want to only do a review on 1 through 3. It kicks off with a cute little setting. It's so much stuff going on in the background that it's a flip between either you listen to what's going on or you watch everything and you will miss everything that's going on, or it'll just completely just go into your subconscious. So I don't know if that's the whole agenda behind it, but the breakdown in it is crazy. So it kicks off in the first episode. It was a quote that I have to put in because I think in the generation millennial generation, I think that there was a study and it breaks down a list of everyone in their age bracket and the characteristics and certain gifts certain generations may have. I myself am a millennial. Certain people consider us kind of egotistical in some degree, or we seem shallow or self centered. I feel we just know what we want. And I think at the certain age of some of us now, the older millennials, because I think to me, there's a breakdown between young and older. I think we we have gifts and abilities that we may not even know that we have. But in the first episode, it breaks off into health is about accepting and perceiving and dealing with reality on reality's terms. So, life is just built on a bunch of things happening around us. And we are like magnets, and the things that we focus on are the things that we attract. So it's like if you think it, you believe it, and you receive it. Those are the things that you attract to you. So in this wave of us being focused and conscious right now, and I'm having a hard time with like focusing on meditation, episode 2 through 3 kicks into fucking meditation like insane, like you would not believe. Um it's crazy. It is insane. I have to say I love it. It's 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 everything that I lived for because I've been waiting for something ever since Adventure Time, and I love it. I'm a sci-fi nerd. I'm a geek in that sense. I love things like this. Jeez, I keep getting damn little notifications. But it goes then into anger is like a sweet flower with poisonous roots. So, like, when we are conscious and focus on being conscious and aware of the things that are going on around us, especially with this pandemic that's going on, it's very hard to focus on self. So you have to find the time to stay mentally like sane. And for us, like millennials, it's very hard for us. Some of us to sit down, be still. Some of us have children. We have to focus on bills. So it's very hard to focus like right about now. But for some of us that are a bit more advanced or that has been working on this path, for me, Midnight Gospel is exactly what I need right now. It's right up my alley. I'm living for it. The creator, they outdid themselves. They outdid themselves. I don't know how anyone can go and do a review on Midnight Gospel and sit down and watch it, like binge watch it completely straight and not rewatch an episode or take it back one time or two or three, because the things that they're saying, you really have to let that sit down and like sink into your subconscious. Because if you are like, as for me, if you are on this road of consciousness, you know that the breakdown of words, manifestation, the things that you think and the way that you perceive them is a real thing, especially with everything that's going on out here with this pandemic that is going on, let alone if you believe in the 5G and all this. So Midnight Gospel is a perfect distraction. It's a perfect. It's not even a distraction. It's a perfect distraction with the animation, but it's something for you to focus on, especially if you're trying to get there mentally with the meditation. I'm just gonna go on just to episode two was awesome. I love two because it was simple. It was a lot of jewels in there, but I think I'm gonna let everyone just watch it. And if anybody likes it, or have any other comments, I would like to hear what anybody else has input on, because I like to see or watch other people on YouTube to find out what their perspective on things are. Because it's like, oh, I never thought of it like that. So for me, that would be awesome. So I'm left off. I'm still like on episode three, where it says hunters without a home. And for me, as being a millennial, and I'm focusing on trying to like meditation, and I have like my little altar and everything like all set up, and I mostly setting of my background for me, and knowing of my history in of my culture. I tend to want to use certain things from my heritage and my culture. I would say that, and I'll leave everyone else and how they choose to do it. What's up to them, because people really tend to want to fight and argue about unnecessary things. And me being a Cancer, I'm very emotional, and I will go 0 to 100. So meditation is good for us on this. So once again, the Midnight Gospel for me helped me because the hunters without a home, if you know about and you're into science, dimensional time is an illusion, astral projection, episode three touches on that. Blew my mind because it's not a lot of places where you can find that, especially for a cartoon. And if you like things like that, so for me, a hunter without a home was, so if you've ever done astral projection and you've tapped into it, you do know you really have to stay focused into it, and it does take practice. And when you do it, it's it blows your mind, and it's like, wow, you have to do a lot of steps, eating right, staying focused, balance, keeping your chakras up, things like that. It is a step, it's a process, and it does take a while. But life in the universe gives you everything you need. I grew up in the church. Also, you will find certain things, the universe, God, source creator, it gives you when you need it. It's crazy. But a hunter without a home, it's like you're hunting. It's like, you ever had a feeling that you're looking for something and you don't know what you're looking for, but you feel like intuition, like your soul, like internally, I have a hole and I'm looking for something. I don't even know what it is that I'm looking for. For a long time, I was looking for that. And my mom told me one day, look up what empath is. And I did that, and it blew my mind. So if anybody knows what that is, shout out to you that you doing your research. But a hunter without a home, you're looking for something, but you don't know what that is. So that hit really home to me. So it touches on meditation is magic, and for people that grew up in the church, it's very a hard thing to get out of being in that. So for me, once again, shout out, Midnight Gospel was a great hit for me. So it says meditation is magic because you have to focus and let it be a quiet surrounding, looking at the sky, something that is peaceful to you. And takes it back to episode one, where like you're like a magnet and focusing on things. So the meditation, you have to focus, and once you practice on that focus and you balance that focus and you're training your mind from going everywhere and anywhere, you're building up your energy, because the things that you focus on in your mind, then you're giving that energy to that, and you don't want to give the energy to that because you need it. And us, as I think there are certain people that have gifts and they do not know that they have it, or they have certain intuition and they really just need to like build it up. There are a lot of people on YouTube that I've been watching, and it's crazy when you don't know someone and y'all come up with the exact same idea and you don't even know them, different backgrounds, things like that. That hits close to home to me. That really registers. So for me, the meditation is magic, and when you're focusing on that and of knowing of certain backgrounds and of certain cultures, and if you come from certain cultures and certain backgrounds and you know what's in your background, you know it's there, you just have to tap into it. And the focus training of the mind, build up your energy, it gives you that oomph, I will say, or that magic. uh Black Girl Magic, shout out to that. um it was, it's a lot. But it leads to there's um root two roots of magic. Are the root of magic, high magic, and it leads you to the trail of magic. So they say that there are two reasons. All this is in Midnight Gospel now. Midnight Gospel on Netflix. So they, on episode 3, they break down. It's they're going through, and it's the little fish guy. He has the little fish tank on, and it's the little, I think, I forgot what his little name is. I'm gonna have to watch and see what his little name is. But it's the main character, and he's going to another little planet, and it's the guy. He has the little fish head, and they're walking. And once again, like I said, you have to listen to what they're saying, but also pay attention to what's going on, because it is also symbolism as well, and they also get into that as well, and where the traces of where this magic, and to me, when you understand history, where it has really gotten tainted at. But they say there's two reasons of why people get into magic, and I see a lot of people doing into magic and the light work and things like that, and I hear a lot of people, they say, be careful of who you follow. And my father's from Louisiana. Shout out to anybody from Louisiana that ever watches this video. If you know of certain cultures like that, and I grew up in the church, so it says, you should be very careful, but you stepping out the box and seeking you shall ask. No, go walk into it knowing you will be protected. Don't fear anything. Voodoo is not what and voodooism is all not of what you think it is, I would say, because going into magic and being Christian, they tell you to really stay away from that. Going, shout out back to that meditation. Okay, but they say that there's two reasons that people do magic. So you see a lot of YouTubers out there talking about it. And heard one lady, I like her, Wayward. If she, I love her. She's a lady on YouTube. She did say, if there's something you want to know, you could really work in practice and do it yourself. To me, and I did hear a lot of people on YouTube, they say that you could do it yourself, or you could pay people. And it's kind of like, what's your intentions and what are you going and what are you seeking? And for me, I don't know, I try to keep a simple lie, not to live outside of my means. I may give another more backstory into that later. But I say you could do anything that you want to do if you focus with the meditation. But they're saying there's two reasons that people do magic. It's either for manifestation, for things that you want, let it be a job, better career, the finding a career, finding your passion. With this pandemic going on, I say it's a lot of people, millennials now, where you're finding we're working jobs and we don't even like working them. I live in Las Vegas, and it's fucking horrible far as on the the economy, the unemployment that's going on. People still waiting for the unemployment. If you even want to go and wait on the government, if you even trust them, it's crazy. But which I don't think you should. But I'm back on to rambling. But doing, it's just the things that you want to go and focus on, and all this goes back into the Midnight Gospel. So they're saying two reasons that people even focus on doing magic is to manifest, so the things that you want. Pandemic going on, you should be trying to do that. Manifestation, are to grow, like to enlightenment, which is to take on or to invoke energy, which some do that in a group setting, which some believe in, the Illuminati, which is just nothing of group more than secret groups are supposed to be secret groups or cults and our lodges are skull and bones, whatever it is you want to call them. If you've done the history, you know that there are different groups out there. Or there's teacher and student. And I've come to find with a lot of YouTubers that there are a lot of teachers and students out there, and they're showing you the way. And with them showing you the way, they're telling you still find your own way, to do the research yourself and find it yourself internally. And I think a lot of us can do that. We just have to go into focus and be willing to do it ourselves. And the little fish guy, so they're back to the two reasons why to do magic. And within doing magic, and he touches on millennials and him being in prison, the little fish guy. And to me, I think the commentary is more so like he's having a interview with somebody and he's giving their stories. Because in episode 1, it's like he's talking to a lady and she was an author and she went through a really hard experience. And from that, they're talking about death. I think it's at episode 1 or 2. But they're talking about death and the things that she learned through that. So in episode 3, the little fish tank guy and the little dude, they're walking, and he's talking about millennials and us not being able to like handle like pressure and things like that. And if we don't like something, don't give it power. And that goes back into the meditation thing and the things that you give power. Don't give it power. If it's bad, and things are bad, once again, like now in the pandemic, you acknowledge it and just know it won't last forever. I always say pressure makes diamonds. When your back is like up against the wall, you'll find a fucking way. You will find a way, I say. So he talks about being in prison and him feeling like that was the most freeing time for him because it was focusing because he was beaten up real bad in prison, and he was talks about if he was outside of jail prison, that he would have just went to the doctor and he would have been just able to go and get over it. But him being in prison, he was able, in dealing with the pain of him being beaten badly, he had nothing else to do but to deal with that pain, that in physically and mentally, because where he was sitting, so he had to cope with the focus on the energy, deal with the emotion, deal with it physically, cope with it mentally. And from there, mentally, because I think he also, I don't know, did he say he was in isolation? From there, I think that's when he went into astral projection. And when he went to the astral projection, in the solar consciousness, from there I was like, I had to stop and just do the video because it was too mind-blowing for me. But when he was talking about the millennials and the things that we can and can't go and deal with, I would agree to that completely. What am I, he brings up with the millennials, what am I going to do? We don't seem like, a lot of us, we don't know what to do. And when he had a lot of time to deal with himself, and he felt like he could actually just deal with himself and with us and with this pandemic and having to be at home and everyone needing to stay at home. It's a lot of people that don't really know how to deal and to sit with themselves and their thoughts. And that's what all this is about, is the meditation, getting your mind right, um, manifestation, focusing on the things that you want. And it closed out almost to the midway of the end of enlightenment. And it talks about of different cultures, and he speaks of in the episode of the Bible and how it's the Bible is basically written in code, and you have to be enlightened. And sometimes it's like listening to a song. When you get older, you interpret it completely differently, and you have a whole new like appreciation for it. So it was like, I think you said in Asian cultures, I forgot what culture it was, but some people think of enlightenment being like the main step, like here in the Western civilization, but in other cultures that's actually just the first step of consciousness, because the next thing is solar consciousness. And if you have solar consciousness and you go into astral projection, and in the Bible it says that sleeping is the closest thing to death, and if you know that and you practice in astral projection, that leads you there, and the only way, it was like really worded really good in there, and it was like when you're in the astral projection, when you're the energy of your spirit travels and goes and your conscious is there, the only reason that you're able to really like to perceive it and to go, it's because you have a solar consciousness, like a soul, a human body is what it kicked back into. And I found that really profound. I would like to end this until I finish watching the rest of this. If anybody else has peeped anything for this, this is just nothing more other than for fun purposes. Um, yeah, crazy. I once again love the movie. The Netflix show Midnight Gospel. Creator, once again, great job. Can't wait to finish watching the rest of it.